I just want to share my journey, my experience with the malignant narcissist. And my reason for sharing this is I'm just hoping that I can it'll aid me in healing from dealing with it, and hopefully it helps somebody else. I may share parts of my life journey as well, but I just want to share how I end up with this individual. So, this person was a childhood friend. This person was somebody that I knew since middle school. And let me see. And it was just like we always had good rapport, at least from school. He was always goofy, friendly, always flirting with me, even we went through middle school to high school together. Lost touch, whatever, just life, but we always remained cool, and we always had a cordial relationship. So he reached out to me one time through Facebook Messenger, and I wasn't really entertaining guys at the time. So he said hello. I said, what's up? Just normal, how you doing type stuff. And then I guess his Facebook got hacked and he shut it down for a couple years or whatever, like maybe probably 1 or 2 years. Then he ended up reaching back out to me like, hey, I want to see you. We ain't seen each other in years. We got to chit-chatting. And just catching up. All of our friends we knew in school and how everybody doing, and, just life and talking. And he ended up saying, can I come see you? And for some reason, I didn't feel like I was talking to a stranger. I didn't give him my information right away, but then I ended up giving him my information. Moved pretty quickly with this individual because it was the beginning of COVID. It was 2020 when I got reacquainted with this person. And I fell for him pretty quick. And I think it was the familiarity and red flags right from the beginning. He said something about the way I look, like I don't look like my pictures or something like that. And my cousin, she said to me, she's like, Misa, I feel like that's a red flag. For him to jokingly, however, say, you don't look like your pictures, because I gained some weight, of course. I had gained some weight. I felt like I still looked like myself, but I wasn't skinny like I was in high school. And she just was like, no, man, that's a red flag. And she was right. And I didn't take heed. I'm like, I didn't take it serious. So we were supposed to go somewhere. We made a date. He said, well, come see me. I said, no, let's go somewhere. I wanted to make sure that, I set some kind of boundaries and start things off appropriately, which that never happened. But then it got real cold. It did, for whatever reason, that night. And I live in Florida, but that night during the Gasparilla parade, it got very cold really fast. So he was like, man, it's too cold. And it really was too cold for us to really be out like that. We had like a cold front or something. So he ended up saying, let's Netflix and chill. And I'm like, huh? Like what? But I'm like, whatever. It is too cold. So we just watched TV for a little while. But he was very, very aggressively, trying to have his hands touchy-feely, that kind of stuff. So after that happened, I blocked him because I just didn't like that. I felt like, yeah, I knew you growing up, but goodness, don't start with all that already. So I think I blocked him, and he kept reaching out for me like, hey, after 2 weeks, like, hey, you're not going to talk to me, blah, 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 whatever. And I wasn't. And then I ended up giving him a chance, and we ended up, becoming intimate pretty quickly, which I had been celibate, so I wasn't happy about. And I'll try to slow it down, and it seemed like I couldn't slow the relationship down. COVID comes around. We're on lockdown. We end up staying together because he couldn't work as he cut hair as a barber, and me being a massage therapist, and me kind of moving back into the city because I was living with my mom for a while because I had some financial troubles when I was living in Atlanta. I ended up moving back to my hometown, which is another story in itself. But so as things progressed, I'm realizing my attachment to him is very strong. But in my spirit, I had this very uneasy feeling. I knew something was off, and even the night that he came to see me the first time, I did remember feeling like the Holy Spirit was telling me, your problem with him is going to be his character, and I didn't know really what that all was all about, but I should have just listened. Point blank period. I didn't need to find out. When God I believed it was the Lord trying to tell me, like, your problem with him going to be his character. I should just ran for the hills, but I didn't. And the more we dealt with each other, I started to realize my heart was in it strongly. And now looking back on it, I felt like the attachment was not, it was soulish, and it was very, very demonically inspired, because I was already in love with him probably 6 months in. And that's not even really me. So I realized that the so-called love had a demonic attachment to it. Not at that point, but I started to realize that why am I so, my heart is so bound up with this person already. So the love bombing, he had a weird sense of humor. I knew something. Sometimes he'll be very sweet, but I knew it was something. I started having dreams of wolves and serpents and different things that would happen. It ended up being where he came to see me Mother's Day. And when he came to see me, he was sitting on the edge of the bed. I had got a room for Mother's Day just to have to be by the water, because I like to be by the water, and just Mother's Day, just wanting to relax and just enjoy Mother's Day. He came that day to see me. This is, in the beginning. And I noticed when he sat down, I had a open vision very quickly of two serpents, two vipers. Like, they jumped out at me, kind of like going behind. His back was facing me because he was sitting on the edge of the bed looking at something, looking at his phone. And I'm sitting in the bed. I see two vipers real quick flash before my eyes. And he was with me that weekend, but I just feel like something is wrong. And then when I had that vision, it kind of scared me a little bit. You would think I would have left that situation alone. Long story short, come to find out, he's still dealing with the mother of his last child. I didn't want to talk to him at first because I felt like that he had, 2 grown children. I think his son and daughter were like 9, and then he had a 3-year-old. And I'm like, you're 40 years old with a 3-year-old. What? Not to judge, but just like, what do you got going on? I did so many things to help him. I helped him to get a car. So he was working 2 jobs and catching the bus, and it just seemed like a lot, and I just thought I was helping because my sister had a car that she didn't drive, and I ended up, she selling me the car for little to nothing just so he can have some transportation back and forth to work, because I was the one taking him to both of his jobs, and I was a full-time college student at that time, and I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I just had a lot on my plate. And then COVID came, and it kind of shut all my plans down, and I got not realizing he was some of the stuff that he had been doing behind my back, in front of my face. He started getting rude, disrespectful. He was back and forth with the mother of his kids. And really, he made up a reason now that I know now, just to break up with her, just so he could pursue me. And then once he got what he wanted from me, he went back. So now he back and forth between me and this individual. And, I'm practically living with him in his apartment because I live down the street from him. And, my daughter's 16. So, of course, I go home. But she's, she did schooling from home. We were all in the house. So, I would be at his apartment. And he started torturing me. He started belittling me even more and more. And I meant to say that he was trickling the belittling in and out throughout this time. We kind of broke up in the very beginning because he called himself cussing me out or something over something silly. Because I saw his phone and I realized that he was talking to all these other females, and he had this. He started to have this Jekyll and Hyde personality, and I didn't know how to really take it. I didn't know what was going on, and we ended up getting back together, and he was like, "Oh, that's our first little argument." When I tell you that argument was some of the most disrespectful things a person can say to you that he was saying, I was cussing him back out too, because I felt like, who are you talking to? What, me wanting to know what you have going on don't warrant you treating me like trash and cussing me out. And then he'll turn it on back nice, like nothing ever happened. And I went through this with him for probably a year. And then we broke up. I really felt like it was over, like the next year, like around Christmas time. I hadn't seen him till like New Year's. He comes back around. Oh, I miss you. I'm like, this boy have to be bipolar or something. This is what I was thinking, even though God kept showing me signs like, get away from him. I'm just thinking, this guy got to be, and I didn't, he wasn't never like that in school. So I'm like, this guy's got to be bipolar or something. I ended up kind of getting back with him and ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, promise. I love my baby so much. I didn't think I could have any more kids because my oldest daughter was 16 and I only had gotten pregnant once. Throughout that whole time, I didn't end up keeping that child. But I never got pregnant again. So 14, 15 years, I just figured, hey, maybe I just can't have any more kids. And I was going to, go to the doctor to figure out, is there really something wrong? Is there a reason why, up until this point, I'm 40 years old, that I never got pregnant again? Like in my late 20s was the last time I was pregnant. Maybe 28 and I'm 40. So I was 40 at the time. So I'm just like, she kind of was my rainbow baby in a sense of, I didn't think I would have another child. And that was a gift to me because I had prayed that, I believe that New Year's that, okay, I'm 40. God, I've never been married. I didn't have any more children. Maybe that's just not the plan that God had for me. And I was just grateful to God and thankful to God. And I said, God, well, if that's not the plan for me, I accept that. I accept where I am. I accept whatever it is you got for me, even if it's not that. I gave up on it in a sense of like, not like in a bad way. I just feel like being at peace with me just being me and my daughter, me and my oldest daughter. I got pregnant with Promise, and I was happy, but that was very short-lived because he became extremely abusive. The first time he hit me was when I was 4 months pregnant. And it just went downhill from there. He'll be in and out. He would be disappearing throughout my pregnancy. I was working a full-time job and working at night. And, I'm a little older. I'm not a spring chicken, so I was tired a lot. And then I was also high risk in my pregnancy. And he just made it miserable for me. And he ended up showing up maybe September, October, when it was getting close to time for me to have my baby. And I had already made plans with family that, okay, he may not show up. He may not come to her birth. He had gotten so bad and so disrespectful, and abusive. I was like, he may not come. So he ended up showing up, taking me to the hospital. But he was torturing me on the way to the hospital. He was driving so fast. And mind you, my C-section was scheduled, so we didn't have to rush. He was fogged out. And now looking back, I know he did it to scare me. Malignant narcissists like to scare the living daylights out of you. That is something that they like to do. They like to torture you. They like to keep you emotionally on edge. I believe they deal with the Jezebel spirit and the spirit of Python. I'll get into that a little bit later in more videos. But these people are definitely, at least the malignant ones. I can't say all narcissists can never be saved or be delivered from that. But the malignant ones, they have chosen to side with Satan. They have chosen. They like being demonic. They like the power or whatever they get. Whatever else come with it, they like it. They enjoy torturing and harming people. So they're in agreement with the dark forces that they use to manipulate and gaslight and what do they call it? The devaluation stage. All of that stuff is a demonic cycle. It is, they stay on repeat. They're on repeat. They're on demon time repeat. For all of those people who are trying to still figure this out, who don't know what they're dealing with, these people are possessed. And the parts of them that seem human, that's what's left. Because some of them are completely consumed. Some are more consumed than others. Some of them are in tandem with it. And for him, I feel like he's in tandem. He's in agreement. I've dreams about him being in agreement with it. He is controlled by it. He has succumbed. He has decided he's going to work for the other side. And I know some of y'all really feel like you really love these people, but it's also to tie your soul up. That's why the pull and the pain is so strong when you're trying to get away, because it is a demonic sex magic type of love. It's not real love, but it still has an effect on your soul. So you really do be loving them, but it's loving them from a fractured place, from a traumatized place. And it's very, very painful to try to break that. It took me, what is it now? 4.5 years, 2020 to now, to 2024 in April, to try to get out of this mess. And to feel like it's really over. I went through that cycle so many times, I can't count. The abuse got worse. Not allowing me to sleep, I end up losing a job kind of behind it, because he would do things like hide my keys, fight with me all night, so I'm exhausted with a brand new baby. I end up having postpartum, and I feel like dealing with this demonic individual triggered it. Even when I was in the hospital, he would take the remote control they give you to watch TV, that's by your bed, at least in our hospitals here, and drop it on the floor just to wake me up, because he knows I'm exhausted and just had a baby and just had a C-section, and the nurses are in and out, and the little time that they gave us quiet, he would just be doing things to wake me up, to keep me exhausted. He did that throughout me nursing her. He will be in and out, causing problems, cheating, doing all kind of stuff. And at this point, I'm so drained. I just feel like that's why I'm making the video. I feel so drained. Those people, like I mentioned, the Python spirit, you wonder why you feel like that. They're sucking. They are parasites, sucking the life out of you. Literally, they are. They're sucking your life force energy out of you. You wonder why they keep coming back. It's not because they're in love with you. They are feeding off you like a vampire. Life source. Even though the Bible says the life is in the blood, it is. The essence of your life is in the blood, but they can get the energy, life force, through sex, through trauma, through doing things to you that's not right, through anger and fighting and keeping chaos going. They harness your energy like that. And they'll leave you with a shell of yourself. I had to do a lot of praying to get out of this. I was stalked. I was beat on. I was cheated on. And I just want to let you know, if any of these things sound familiar and you got somewhere safe to go, get away from these individuals. Point blank, no excuse. And it takes a while. I know it's easier said than done, because it took me a while. I had to put more than one restraining order. I had to get family involved so he know I have some type of support system. Some of them don't care about none of that. But in my case, he don't want to go to prison. He played like he want to go to prison, but he doesn't want to go to prison. So I've had my distance from him for at least a month or so, and I did it 2 or 3 months before, but this time, no, I went no contact. I ended up contacting him because we do have a child together. He saw her for 5 minutes. I'm not playing with him. I have to stay away from him. I cannot be in his presence like that. I cannot be around him like that. I'm trying to survive this. And this stuff is not anything to play with, people. These people are Decepticons, and they have decided. Not all of them, because I believe some people have narcissistic tendencies. I believe some people have narcissistic personality disorder. I believe some people may be borderline, but some of them are what I call malignant, and what I've heard from my own research online and stuff like that. These people, they're sons of Belial. The Bible talks about that. There's no saving them. They are scoundrels, and they want to be scoundrels, and they'll continue to suck life out of you until they can't take no more. Sometimes you wonder to hear stories why people just died of heartbreak, or they just, became a hermit, and somebody found them. Because I believe sometimes those people have secluded themselves to keep themselves from harm, to keep me in this type of spirit. And it will, if you aren't protective of yourself, if you take it seriously, You have to guard yourself against these people. They do not love you. You are a food source. That's the best way I know how to put it. And a parasitic food source where they get strength, they feed off your nutrients, and you get sick. It's real. It's a spiritual exchange. It's a soul exchange. It affects all of you as a person. And this is my way of fighting for my healing and restoration. I'll be back with another video. I just wanted to share that portion.